The Welsh Rugby Union is a bit like a golf club. Not the 19th hole where you go for a bit of a bevy, but the place that's a bit posh, tie and blazer, a bit hushed, where you show a bit of respect. Ah yes, the good old WRU makes the rules and everybody obeys.
Well, nearly. Bit of a crisis at the moment. All these clubs and everybody heading in more than one direction.
All right.
It's gone left. The little clubs, not a lot of clout, but if you don't master the small clubs, the whole game goes to pieces. The small clubs, no real money and no place in the new elite, but this is all about the rugby club being the heart of the village.
Sandwich, please.
Pub, post office, chapel, rugby club. The vast majority of the 200-odd rugby clubs in Wales, and without them, there is no such thing as Welsh rugby, and they seem pretty happy with the way things are. The big clubs. Big Berthas. Boom. John Daly in rugby boots, obsessed with hitting the leather off the ball. The Cardiffs and Swanseas, backed by millionaire patrons, sponsors, exposed on telly. They think in terms of European leagues, of having players on contract, selling land, redeveloping. Their agenda is fast, and they want change. The Welsh Rugby Union says, hold on, the Blazers must meet first. We have a procedure. The First Division clubs are saying, we have a limited company, and they're talking breakaway. Will they break or will they hold the line? As usual, it'll be the delicate touch that decides things, whether in rugby or golf. The golf course, and before that, South Africa, full houses, great action, money galore. The great goal for the modern rugby guru. And we've got one here in studio. Gareth Davis, Chief Executive of Cardiff Rugby Club, very posh. And Cardiff have been at the forefront of forming a limited company. Gareth, that's very businesslike. What's the scheme?
Well, I think it's about time that rugby did become business-like. I think in the past, perhaps it hasn't had to be, being an amateur game, but we're in the world of professional sport now, and I think we have to keep pace with it, and we have to lead the way. And I think that the First Division clubs have been quite disillusioned. We've been quite upset, I suppose, if you saw what happened during the summer, the disgrace of our performances in the World Cup, the annual general meeting of the Welsh Rugby Union that didn't actually address rugby at all, little political infightings. So that's what actually, that was the catalyst for our meeting, to try and say, well, what is wrong with our national game? What is wrong with our national side? There's obviously a linkage there. And I think it's happened for over 100 years now that some of the bigger clubs, whatever, have gone to annual general meetings, because that is the process, we are told, to lodge our complaints. But 12 clubs amidst 220 or 230, I'm afraid, will be swept away, swept under the carpet, and business as usual. But I think we're past that at this stage. We want to be heard. We formed a limited company, 12 clubs, equal shares, equal shareholders in that company, everybody treated the same, and we want to move ahead.
So you've got 12 clubs, and you don't like the WRU, you don't like the things they do, you don't like their bonus point system, which is opening up rugby. Are you going to break away? We're going to have a second split?
I don't think so. Just to correct you on that, I don't think we've actually said we don't like the bonus system. What we said was we weren't consulted about it. I think there should be discussion on such a fundamental change to the league this year. We've already seen the league table today. Take my own club, Cardiff, for example. We've won 2 out of 2, but we're 7th in the table. So there needs a bit of adjustment. I think people need to study what's going on. So we're not saying we don't like it. We just say we should have had the chance to discuss it. And secondly, we're not breaking away at all. What we're saying is we want to remain within the union. We are the union. The clubs form the union. They don't own us. We form it, and we want to stay under that umbrella.
But you're a pressure group, let's face it. You are there. You formed this company to lever the union into giving way to your demands, which is basically a new elite.
It is an elite. I think that's the way we've got to go. That's the way all other sports have gone. The closest analogy, I suppose, is football, where the Premiership broke away 5, 6, 7 years ago. 22, 24 clubs, for the same reasons, by the way, because the football was the leading clubs in football were one. Man United were one of 92 clubs. It's the same with us. Llanelli are one of 230, and I'm afraid that the Llanellis and the Cardiffs and the Swansea don't have enough say in the running of the game at the top level, because we supply all the players to the national team. We bring all the revenue into the game through television and sponsorship. Have we seen anybody from the second, third and fourth division on television this year? No, and we probably won't, because people want to see the top 12 clubs.
If it's a question of who has power then, you formed a group of 12, but surely Cardiff don't see the future in terms of 12. I mean, you want to go 3, 4 into Europe. What are you going to do with the Treorchis of this world once you've used them to get your way?
I don't think we are using them. I suppose you could look at the so-called bigger clubs, and perhaps those bigger clubs could have gone their own way. But I think the vehicle is at the moment the top 12 clubs. As I say, with equal shareholders, whatever develops, whatever evolves in the future, all 12 will be treated the same. Now there has to be no doubt within that, if it is going on to Europe or even on a wider scale, yes, the successful clubs, there has to be some sort of meritocracy in all this, and the leading clubs in the season before, no doubt, will be the ones that benefit in the short term. This year, Pontypridd, Cardiff and Swansea are the three that benefit in the inaugural European competition because of our performances last year.
It's not the perfect format. There's no English clubs. If I gave you a blank sheet of paper and say, what would Cardiff like to be involved in 3 years' time, what would it be?
It's not just Cardiff, is it? I think all of Wales, all of Britain wants cross-border competition. We're all getting fed up, I think, with this incestuous, parochial sort of rugby we're playing. It's been a great start this season, lots of tries, but people want to see Llanelli play against Leicester and Bath again. It'd be lovely to play against Toulouse or Milan. That's the way ahead. That's what stimulates interest in other sports. That's what will actually create the interest for the youngsters on the streets to see European and world stars playing in Wales again.
So what are we going to see then? We're going to see Cardiff, and you say you're not talking of just Cardiff, but you know, you're there, you want to go to a new ground, you want to revolutionise the game in the city, the capital city of Wales. You're applying threats, you know, there's money which won't be available if you don't get your way. Where are you heading?
I don't think we're applying threats at all. What we're doing is to try and keep track and to stay ahead, I think. The attitude of amateur sport rugby, didn't actually embrace professionalism until August the 27th when the IRB said, yes, the game goes professional. It's been professional for years, but now we've said it's professional, and everybody already has reacted and have turned around.
Gareth, thanks very much. There's lots more to be had on the money issue.